Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is that you are and wherever you may be. Thank you very much for making us a part of your day. I am Brad Franklin, a creative content writer here in Chesterfield, and I'm very glad to tell you that Chesterfield Behind the Mic is on the air once again. Obviously, next month, Black History Month, is an exciting time around Chesterfield and around the United States, and we thought it would be a good idea this year to have somebody on the podcast to come and talk about some of the events that are planned for next month, some of the things that folks might want to get out and do, folks might want to sign up for, and those kinds of things. That person is Kim Conley, who is the Assistant Director of Citizen Information and Resources here in Chesterfield. Kim, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Welcome. Thank you, Brad, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here today.
I'm very glad to have you. Appreciate your time. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into not just the whole entire month and all the different events, making sure that all of them are, planned correctly and all that fun stuff, but there's also the little bits and pieces that go along with that. So obviously I know this is a very busy time for folks in your office because it's not like that's the only thing you guys are doing, right? Before we get started, though, I really would like to talk about first, this is a kind of a thing I like to do on the show where, whenever somebody comes and sits in the seat, I want to give the listener, give the viewer a chance to understand who it is they're hearing from, what's their background, what kind of brought them here. And I'm just curious, what kind of brought you to Citizen Information Resources, and how long have you been here? What did you do before you got to Chesterfield?
So I'm a native of Chesterfield County. In addition to that, I have worked for Chesterfield County for more than 30 years.
Wow.
I worked in the administrator's office for a number of years prior to a promotion into Citizens Information Resources about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So I'm excited. Chesterfield County is a wonderful place to live, work, and play.
Right.
And we have enjoyed just the opportunity to be out in the community, and that's what Citizens Information and Resources is all about. Yeah,
obviously for folks who don't know, and this is a good chance to talk a little bit about what CIR does. If you went to an event in Chesterfield, there's a pretty good chance that Kim and her folks have been involved in it. Whether it was one of the many ribbon cuttings and things we did at the end of 2022, or I guess throughout 2022. But there's also a lot of different things, especially multicultural. There's the Office on Aging. There's a lot of stuff that you guys do. But talk a little bit about just what CIR is and sort of the mission of your department.
CIR is very unique. Dr. Casey, in his wisdom, decided to create the department based on the fact of having a welcoming source in the county. And this department, where he created, is where we assist businesses, residents, the community through a variety of resources. As you mentioned, we have mobility, we have aging and disability services, we have multicultural community, we have youth, we have volunteerism. Right. So our department is very uniquely created, specifically and intentionally with the staff that we have. Yeah. We also are what I call we're the connector to the community. Yeah. If you're talking about connection, our office, we are engaging in the community engagement. Right. We actually really work to assist residents in connecting with community and assessing services and resources that are, well, it may not be just Chesterfield. There's a way that we can connect you with something in the region. We do that. Right. And we pride ourselves in being the hospitable team for the county, where we're planning events, we're having fun, but we're also providing the necessary resources. Right.
Yeah, and it seems like, every time I turn around, whether it's stuff like, ribbon cuttings and things like that, or the Government Citizens Academy, basically engagement seems to be everything to you guys, being able to not just engage the community, but have the community engaged with Chesterfield government. And I think that's a perfect backdrop to talk about Black History Month, because as these events are planned for the public, right, it's that engagement piece again. And obviously a topic that deserves as much engagement as we can get, right? In terms of the events that Chesterfield has had over the years, this is, I want to say, the 35th year?
34th year.
34th. I know it's close in terms of the county's plan. But what I guess before we get into the actual nuts and bolts of what folks can do this year to celebrate Black History Month, I would like to sort of give folks a feel of what all goes into it. When you start planning for these kinds of things, when do these things start really lining up? Because I think for a lot of people, whether it's, a lot of the things you guys probably do, right? Ribbon cuttings, whatever, you just show up and there's an event, right? You just show up and, Michael Paul Williams is talking to you about, whatever. But obviously there's a lot of planning that goes into that. I'm just curious, how far in advance do you guys start working on the next Black History Month or the next event?
So I will share with you also, Citizens Information and Resources, we pride ourselves in educating our community, advocating in the community, celebrating in our community. And we're excited about Black History Month celebration. We have a team that comes together that is comprised of Virginia State University, our Parks and Recreation Department, our library system.
Right.
We all come together and we plan, and we start planning every summer. So July is our kickoff.
Gotcha.
And we plan from July to January, and then that's how we're able to have such successful events for 34 years.
Yeah. I mean, that's a long time to do anything, but I'm imagining over the years you guys have obviously learned a lot about the way that the process works and how to do this in a way that, serves the community, that really, as you said before, engages it. The biggest part, I guess, in terms of that engagement, the biggest piece, is getting it started, right? And that kickoff celebration, I know, is obviously always a big thing for Black History Month. This year, it's at Virginia State University, Saturday, February the 4th from 1 to 4, DJ, dancing, all kinds of things going on. How many folks have their hands in that? What's the how excited are we about being able to hold this one?
So we're really excited about it this year. There's a number of people, including the staff at Virginia State University, that are involved in playing this. But we also bring the community, where we have a local DJ Chuck Stone. We also have a group of blind dancers that we can break down RVA. So we are really excited and fun. But the also thing that we're going to have a couple of our local celebrities, what I call them, community talent, that will be a part of our little pre-show. So we'll have some community talent. So it's an opportunity to kick off the month in entertainment, engaging. We want movement, because that's a part of life too, is movement and engagement. So we want people to come out and really enjoy the entertainment piece and be able to kick off and talk about how Black History Month and what it means to them. And, with the topic of uniting today for a better tomorrow, how do we do that? And coming together to collaborate and have discussion and just have some fun time together at Virginia State University is what we plan to do this year.
Cool. Now, I want to stress as we go through these events that we're recording this a little bit before the actual beginning of February. This podcast will go live just before the beginning of February. Listen, stuff happens, right? People get sick. Some things that are planned, they might need to get changed. If you are interested in any of the events we're about to talk about, the best thing you can do to make sure that nothing has changed, right, is to go to the website, Chesterfield.gov. You can just search Black History Month. It'll be a rundown there of all the different events, all the times and places and things. I would highly, highly stress to you that you do that before you just go out and go to an event. There might be a registration that's required. I'm going to make sure that I mention them as we go through these. But again, make sure you hit the website and you check just to make sure everything is as it was going into it, because the best thing about planning is that you always have to have contingencies, right? And some things can change. And if they do change, that's the way we'll communicate that to folks.
Absolutely.
The first event I wanted to focus on is the Marcus Garvey and the History of Black Liberation at LaPrade Library, Wednesday, February the 8th from 6:30 to 7:30. There's a lot, obviously, that goes into a figure like Marcus Garvey, learning, the history of what he did and the folks that he obviously motivated. And certainly, this is an event early in Black History Month. I think that really kind of sets a tone. Registration, I believe, for this event is already open. So folks, if you're interested in going to this, feel free to hit the website and go ahead and register. Kim, what do you think folks need to know about this one?
I think folks need to be ready to come and listen and be a part of the discussion. Engagement is the key, and that's what we try to do. Our leadership has always put the task on us, educate our community. We may celebrate, but educate our community. And this is one of the sessions where I think our community will really enjoy hearing the story about Marcus Garvey and then how they can engage and ask questions. So I tell anyone, sign up for this one. It's going to be one to remember. Yeah.
Now, Michael Paul Williams is somebody I mentioned earlier. I referenced him, a Pulitzer Prize-winning author who writes for the Richmond Times-Dispatch. The questions remain liberty or death. La Prade Library as well, February the 8th from 6:30 to 7:30. So he's going to talk about the importance of free speech and democracy. And I don't know if there's ever been a time where that's been more on the minds of folks before. And I'm not sure if this is the first year that Mr. Williams has been involved, but obviously somebody who is local, somebody who's in this region, people probably read him with regularity. I'm just curious, what stands out to you about this one?
This one is very important because Michael Paul Williams is such a dynamic speaker.
Yeah.
We all know him, but he's going to leave us with some thought-provoking discussion and just engagement with the community. So I just say this one is one to remember. This was one of the first ones I put on my calendar when I read it.
There you
so
go.
I kudos to the library staff for saying, let's bring Michael Paul Williams into our library and have this discussion with our community. So this is going to be one to remember just because of where we are today in the world and things that are going on. He is the one to lead the effort and the discussion for this.
Now that one's kind of focused more of on like our current events sort of standpoint. The next two are sort of about history, right? There's Life is History at the County Museum, Saturday, February the 11th from 11 to noon. And then Telling Our Story in Song at the Chester Library on Thursday, February the 16th from 6:30 to 7:30. Both of those, I think, are rooted in history, rooted in sort of the struggle, rooted in sort of the experience of African Americans as they've gone forward. You can speak to either one of those or both. I'm just curious, what are some of your thoughts on those?
I am thoroughly looking forward to Life is History. The speaker, Dr. Lurla Joseph, one of the recipients of, I'm just saying, she dynamic, just dynamic. Yeah. I agree with the library staff when they creatively, intentionally thought about who the speakers and programs would be for this Black History Month celebration this year. They were very intentional and unique. And this session is just going to be focused on, the life. The Life is History and how important it is.
Yeah.
The one that's going to be at Telling Our Story in Song.
Yeah.
That resonates with me.
Right.
Only because when you talk about Black spirituals, you talk about the traditional hymns. I grew up in a Baptist church.
Right.
So this resonates with me, just learning the history and why these hymns were developed and what they meant, the meaning of them.
Yeah, these songs that folks have probably heard for generations, come and find out what they were all about and where they came from. Yeah, that's great.
And when you hear someone talk about the history of how a song was created, this session right here will help you. It's going to educate you.
Now, for Life in History, reservations are required, so you want to make sure you hit the website for that one. Also, registration begins February the 2nd for Telling Our Story in Song, so make sure you do that as well. Which also leads us up to what's probably the big event in a lot of ways, and just in terms of one, the number of people involved, and then two, sort of that sort of outward engagement. The annual scholarship recognition program, the breakfast. It's invite only to be in person, but it is virtual. Friday, February the 17th, starting at 8 a.m. So for folks who are unaware of how this program works, they're going to recognize 6 outstanding Chesterfield High School seniors for their achievements and contributions. And basically, these kids kind of applied. They have a process for how they sort of can get selected to be one of these 6. This program can be viewed on our Facebook page. We'll be doing a Facebook Live for this event. Kim, I want to talk a little bit more about this one in depth. First off, this, to me, it looks like from the outside that this is like the biggest piece, right? Is this, you're bringing a lot of different pieces together. You've got the piece of the kids and what they write about and how they earn, these scholarships. And then obviously the piece for them to have this opportunity to have those scholarships. First off, how did this kind of come about? Where did this breakfast, this program sort of originate?
So many years ago, one of the key components of developing the Black History Month celebration events, we've had different events, kickoff concerts, we've had arts and entertainment festivals, but one of the dynamic pieces was that we would give back to our students in our community.
Right.
And so this scholarship program is based just for Chesterfield County Public Schools system and our students, our high school students. And it was created because that's important. Students are our future. The youth are our future. And when you're talking about uniting today for a better tomorrow, they are today for tomorrow. And so our leadership at the time said, how can we give back? And how can this component be just one of our signature event? So they created the scholarship program where we have an application process. We work in partnership with the public school system. Some representatives serve on our committee, and they send out an application process. Students have to apply, but they also have to write an essay,
right,
and then their essay is judged. So when I say we have talented students in our community, we really do. And Chesterfield County has the best, but we have to break it down to 6, and that becomes a challenge. This year, their essay is they have to focus on the important moments in our American history that have been united our people together and for a better tomorrow. And they have to then also share the cultural events and the people within their lives that have made an impact on them in our community. Yeah. So we're excited about that. There are 6 scholarships. We're also been fortunate for ever since we've had this program that we've had community sponsors like Columbia Gas that have said, hey, you're going to continue to do this. We're going to be a part of this event for you. And they have helped us with this event. So we have the scholarship program, but we also then, as part of that recognition, we award the scholarship recipients. We have a program where we acknowledge our sponsors, but the scholarship recipients also share excerpt of their essays. Right. So we get to hear where they're coming from, how they're thinking, and how they're going to help us shape tomorrow. Right. So the program, it's 8 to 10 on the 17th. It's going to be virtual for the public, but we are really excited about highlighting and showcasing our recipients. And then we also, as a part of this program, we'll have local entertainment. Okay. We'll have a keynote speaker, local entertainment, and it's just one of those programs that everybody always wishes, who's next? Right. And when are you going to have it? Right. And so we're excited to be able to bring it back, and I said in a hybrid format this year because we've been virtual for the last 3 years due to COVID, but now we're going to have partial in person and then partial virtual. So we're excited about that. We're excited about the opportunity to showcase our youth, and we're excited about just coming together once again for Black History Month celebration. Real quick before we leave that, I'm just curious, when are those essays already due? Essays are due this Friday, January 13th. Okay, so as we record this, they're literally about to show up, and then you guys get I'm not sure who all is on the judging panel or whatever for that, but that doesn't sound like an easy task. No, it's not, and they often come back and tell us stories like how hard it was because these students are so strong and they're so intentional about their discussions. So, right. Yes. All right. But Brad, before we leave, I just want to make sure that we just acknowledge the fact that Chesterfield County is a unique community, but we have a fabulous leadership that often says, what are we doing next year? And they continue to support this effort. And we could not be where we are today with this program as a community. Yeah. And we've won national awards for our Black History Month celebration. Yeah. And I just want to say thank you to our leadership and for the sponsors who often say, yes, we're going to do this and we're going to keep moving forward. And then also just thank you to the staff. Yeah. And the partners who participate as far as planning the events. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. A couple more events that we want to touch on real quick. There's the Voting Rights and the Politics of Race in Richmond. That's at Bon Air Library on Wednesday, February the 22nd from 6:30 to 7:30. There's a Black Excellence Open Mic Night at Edric Recreation Center, February the 24th at 6:30. And then I really thought this one was really interesting. The Underground Railroad Quilt Codes for ages 6 to 11, which is a virtual event on Saturday, February the 25th from 2 to 3. I'm just going to leave it open-ended for you to talk any about those. That third one I thought was really interesting, just the idea of being able to look at some of the designs that were sort of in those quilts and how, folks talk to each other on the railroad at the time. I just think that that's fascinating. And I was a little bummed when I saw it was 6 to 11 because I can't, I'm obviously not 6 to 11. But they'll let you come in. We won't tell if you're not in the age bracket, Brad. It's okay. But just talk to me a little bit about just those last 3 events. So let me just say to you, the Underground Railroad Quilt Codes, it's very for youth. It'll be interesting to have the discussion of here are the messages and this is how they communicated, right? And to think about how they communicated then versus how we communicate now. We have all these gadgets and devices, and how one had to communicate then. It's just in the quietness and how you had to communicate with each other and try to get messages back to your family. Right. I think the hidden messages that they'll learn about here will speak volumes to them. It would resonate with them when they leave this program. Absolutely. Now I would say that Black Excellence Open Mic, that's the session that you really want to be. Okay. If you think that you can hold a tune, you can sing just a little bit, come out and share it with your community because that's the night that you can showcase your performance and your talents. Right. And of course, the county is always interested in saying, let's be able to highlight who our community, who's in our community and the talents that we have. So come out to that if you can as well. Right. Now, registration starts February the 8th for that Voting Rights and Politics of Race in Richmond discussion at the Bon Air Library, and then the Underground Railroad
Railroad quilt codes. Registration begins on February the 11th. But again, I want to stress one more time, visit the website, Chesterfield.gov, search Black History Month. Make sure to verify all these things. They'll have all the different links that you need in order to register or to reserve your spot or whatever for all of them. But Kim, thank you very much for coming on the podcast and talking to us about Black History Month. I appreciate it.
Brian, it has been a pleasure to come and speak with you about Black History Month. And I just encourage everyone, there is an activity or program for each and everybody that's in our community. So come out and join us. I look forward to seeing you. I'm going to be at most of them, so come up and say hi to me.
Awesome. Thanks, Kim. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Brad. Have a good one.
All right. Now make sure you check us out on social media. On Twitter, it's at Chesterfield VA. And on Instagram, it's Chesterfield, Virginia, all one word. And on Facebook, you can check out our podcast page. Just search Chesterfield Behind the Mic. Make sure to like that page so you can keep us as we go forward. Now, let me tell you about all the ways you can check us out. You can watch us on our YouTube channel, as well as on our website at Chesterfield.gov/podcast. An audio-only version of the show is available there, as well as on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Overcast, Google Podcasts, and a whole host of other services. You can also watch the show on WCCT Thursday through Sunday at 7 on the weekends at noon. That's Comcast Channel 98 and Verizon Channel 28. And lastly, you can check out Chesterfield.gov/connect with us for more ways for you to get in touch with us and for us to get in touch with you. My thanks to our director, Martin Stith, my executive producer, Teresa, Bonifas, and our whole crew here from Communications and Media. Thank you very much for all that you do. And that's all from us here in Chesterfield today. Thank you very much for being a part of this show and for making us a part of your day. We'll see you again real soon. Take good care.